What's up everyone, and welcome to the skill-capped ADC Itemization Guide for Season 11. There's a ton of small tweaks to many of the ADC items along with a bunch of new additions. To get you off on the right foot, we will be breaking it all down to make everything less confusing for you guys. Without taking up any more time, let's get right into it. First off, to get you up to speed, there are now two categories of items, one being mythic and the other legendary. Mythic items will be the strongest in the game and the one you will want to rush. You can only purchase one mythic item. Legendary items will follow and are the items you purchase to round out your core build. We will first take a look at the three main crit mythic items, and then after that discuss what you would want to build on your non-crit based ADCs. Immortal Shield Bow is the first mythic crit item, which will be a strong defensive option. Its passive provides you with a shield and lifesteal when you drop below 30% HP, so when playing against an assassin comp or heavy dive, Shield Bow can be an option. The more offensive crit mythic is Kraken Slayer. It provides you with more AD and crit than Shield Bow, and the passive is like Vayne's Silver Bolts, as it will deal additional true damage every third attack. This will likely be the best option on most ADCs, as the amount of DPS you will be able to output with this true damage proc will heavily outweigh the DPS from Shield Bow and Gale Force, which we will take a look in a moment. Just think about Vayne with Press the Attack, her Silver Bolts, and now Kraken Slayer. She may as well be an assassin, cause that third auto is gonna hit like a truck. The third and final item for crit-based ADCs is Gale Force. The active provides you with a dash that also deals damage. This damage is increased based on the target's missing health. This item will be best for immobile ADCs, or in games to where you are snowballing early on, since a dash and added burst damage will allow you to be way more aggressive. Now that we've covered your first item purchase, let's talk about your build from then on out. Prior to the changes, your second item on most ADCs would usually be a Zeal item or another BF sword item. These items didn't really get changed too drastically for Season 11, so the only thing that should change is the timing in which you purchase them. For on-hit ADCs like Vayne, Kog'Maw, and Varus, instead of rushing a Blade of the Ruin King like before, picking it up second after you've completed your mythic item and then getting Ginsu's third is what your build path would look like. For the likes of Jhin, Caitlyn, and Tristana, purchasing Stormrazor second and then Infinity Edge third will be a great option. We think you get the picture. The only thing that really changes here in your build path is the item you rush. Whatever you were building before as your first and second core items, you can just delay those for one slot now due to the new mythic items. Now there is one completely new legendary crit item you could look to pick up in your second or third slot that we need to discuss. Navori Quickblade is that item, and its passive is very similar to what we saw in Spear of Shojin before it got removed. It provides you with AD and crit, along with 30 ability haste, which is the new name for CDR, and a super strong passive. This passive reduces the cooldowns of your non-ultimate abilities by 20% when you crit. This item could turn out to be absolutely nuts on ADCs like Lucian, Vayne, Sivir, and Samira. Lucian is definitely going to be the ADC that benefits most from this item, so look to try it out as your second item on him. A new tank-busting item you could grab later on is Cyrilda's Grudge. This item gives AD, haste, and armor penetration, along with a passive that slows the enemy when you hit them with abilities. The other option will still be Lord Dominik's. It's being changed a little bit as well, as it will now give you crit along with the AD and armor pen. Basically, if you're a crit ADC, then Lord Dominik's will work great for you. And for ADCs like Ezreal or Senna who don't like crit, Cyrilda's Grudge will be the best tank busting option. Now once you get really late into the game around your 4th and 5th slots, everything will be pretty similar as before based on the situation. But there are a few new changes we should talk about. If you need healing reduction, there are now two options for ADCs. You still have Mortal Reminder, which gives you the AD and Grievous Wounds, but it will now also give attack speed, crit, and move speed, making it a great offensive purchase. The new and more defensive Grievous Wound item option is Chempunk Chainsword. Another new, or perhaps you could say old, late game defensive item we need to take a look at is Sterak's. Yes, Sterak's is now viable again on ADCs. The shield will be weaker for ranged champions, but it will still be a great late game option to provide yourself with survivability if the enemy team has a lot of burst champions. Titanic Hydra will also be a late game defensive option now for ADCs, as the bonus on hit and splash damage now works for ranged champs, albeit with lesser of an effect that you get on melee champs. This also means Tiamat will work for ADCs as well, so potentially we could see some wacky Tiamat rush strategy on certain ADCs. Overall, if the enemy team is really tanky, you can build one of the Last Whisper items. If you need healing reduction, Mortal Reminder or Chempunk are there for you. If you want more survivability, there are now many different options, ranging from Death's Dance to Guardian Angel, Scimitar, Sterak's, and Titanic Hydra. And if offense defense is the only thing you know, building another BF or Zeal item is an option as well. So now that we've discussed crit-based ADCs, what about outliers like Ezreal or Senna who don't want crit in their builds? For Ezreal, building either Trinity Force or Divine Sunderer will be his go-to mythic items. Both items provide you with Sheen's Spellblade passive. Trinity Force will likely be the most optimal option in most scenarios, but against very tanky compositions, the percent HP damage that Divine Sunderer provides will make it a viable purchase. Something worth noting here when talking about Ezreal and Senna is that Tear is now a starting item. It costs 400 gold, so you can get your Manamune stacking as soon as you start the game. But the downside to this is that the rate in which you can stack Tear will be a lot slower now, and the bonus mana you can stack will be lower as well, going from 750 down to 450. This means the amount of extra AD you get from Manamune will be lower for Season 11. Because Iceborne Gauntlet is also being removed, Ezreal won't be getting as much value out of the mana to AD conversion from Manamune. On top of this, Manamune will no longer get the 15% mana refund on ability use, so you'll be running out of mana quicker. Overall, the efficiency of Manamune is being decreased for Season 11. We probably won't see it being abused as much on a variety of ADCs, and even Ezreal may struggle due to its changes. To finish off your build on Ezreal, the standard Death's Dance will work great as his third item. For your final items, if you need healing reduction, then the new item Chempunk's Chainsword, which we touched on earlier, will work great for him. If you don't need healing reduction and want more survivability, then either Sterak's, Guardian Angel, or Scimitar are good options. And if you want more damage, then a Blade of the Ruined King 4th or 5th can work as well. As for Senna's mythic item options, there's either Duskblade or the new lethality item Eclipse. We should add that Miss Fortune and Jin may also find themselves really liking this item, as they've had success with lethality builds in the past. Eclipse gives AD, lethality, and Omnivamp along with a nice passive that synergizes really well with Senna's kit. How this passive works is that if you hit a champion with 2 separate attacks or abilities within 1.5 seconds, you deal additional percent HP damage, get a shield, as well as movement speed to kite around. With Senna being able to auto and then Q very quickly, she will benefit greatly from this passive. From here on out, the build will be very similar to what you did in Season 10. Pick up your Manamune second and then Youmuu's and Rapid Fire Cannon to round things out. Alright, that's gonna be it for today, guys. Use everything we talked about in this video to give yourself the edge for the start of preseason. Be sure to experiment by yourself and try different stuff out to see what you enjoy or find the strongest. If you're someone who's been theory crafting and have come up with new OP builds, then be sure to share it with us down in the comments below. With that being said, thanks for watching everyone. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you in the next video.